Robinson hit that ball.
On April 15th, 1947, Jackie Robinson made his major league debut.
Roger Kahn is a journalist and baseball writer who became a friend of Jackie Robinson.
He got no hits. He went hitless. And we talked about that, and Jack said, after the first few minutes, I wasn't nervous. And nervousness had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't get any hits. The reason I didn't get any hits was the curveball of Johnny Sain, who was the Braves' ace pitcher. So that's how Jackie began. He began hitless. Not too many hitless days after that.
Jackie Robinson would have had reason to be nervous when he stepped out to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers that day in April 1947. He became the first African-American to play for a Major League Baseball team since the 19th century. Racial abuse and discrimination were common currency in the 1940s, and much of the United States was still segregated.
When my father was called to spring training with the Brooklyn Dodgers in the southern states of America, it was a great day for my mother and father to travel to this new opportunity and new challenge.
This is David Robinson, Jackie's younger son.
They booked a ticket from California on a plane to Florida, got into the South and had to transfer to another plane. They were sitting on the plane ready to take off. The stewardess came and told them they had to get off the plane. They were taken off the plane in order to give space for a white couple who were also traveling, but who did not have a booking as my parents had, but due to the discriminatory practices that were in existence at that time, my parents were taken off the plane. The white couple flew on to their destination. My parents made it to spring training at the segregated section in the back of the bus, crowded with people standing, and yet they could see in front of them the white section that had plenty of open seats.
And where you say the bus, do you mean literally the bus? They couldn't fly?
Yeah, literally the bus. The planes were all booked, and they then had to take a 10, 12-hour bus ride.
Roger Kahn, who as a newspaper reporter travelled with the Brooklyn Dodgers in the early 1950s, remembers plenty of discrimination and abuse, both on and off the field.
We were in St. Louis, and at that point in St. Louis, 1952, blacks could not stay at the Chase Hotel, which was the white hotel, a base for the visiting Dodgers. And my phone rang in the afternoon, and it was Jackie, and he said, did you hear what went on in the fifth inning last night? And I said, no, I didn't, Jack. He said, well, Eddie Stanky, the manager of the Cardinals, was shouting, hey, Porter, get my bag. And then they'd hold up spikes, and he'd say, shine my shoes. And Jackie said, I've been in the game for 7 years, and I don't think I should have to take this junk anymore. He was furious. So I wrote the story for the New York Herald Tribune, and I went to see Stanky. And Stanky said, I didn't hear anything out of line. I said, well, why would Robinson make it up? What did you hear? And Eddie Stanky said to me, I heard black bastard. I don't consider that out of line.
And that was typical of the kind of abuse that went on, presumably?
Yeah, episodically so. I mean, talking about abuse, then you have to get to the people who rallied, the white people who rallied around Jack. And eminent there was Pee Wee Reese, Harold Pee Wee Reese of Louisville, Kentucky, who was the Dodgers shortstop and captain. And in Jackie's first year, the Dodgers were playing in Cincinnati, which is on the Ohio River. And during infield practice, the Reds players began to taunt Robinson. And some people in the stands picked it up. And suddenly Reese put up his hand and stopped infield practice and walked over from shortstop to first base, put his arm around Jackie Robinson, and stood there silently gazing into the dugout full of racists. He shamed them into silence. And Jackie said to me, after that moment, I never again felt alone on a baseball field.
Tell me, Roger, what effect did Jackie Robinson have on integrating crowds at baseball?
Jackie had a lot to do with integrating crowds, and sometimes very dramatically. The Dodgers played in Cincinnati. Busloads of fans came up from Mobile, Alabama, black fans. And that was a 1,200-mile round trip. You had a great number of black people showing up.
Did you see Jackie Robinson hit that that ball.
Jackie Robinson, it's generally agreed, was a great baseball player. But there was an additional reason the Dodgers management chose him as the pioneer. They felt his emotional maturity would help pave the way for other African-American ball players.
He had to promise Branch Rickey, the Dodger president, that for the first 2 or 3 years, whatever happened, he would not retaliate. So if they called him names or they tried to spike him, and those things happened, he would have to turn the other cheek. He was able to do that. And Jackie Robinson was never involved in a fist fight on the field. After the 2 or 3 years, he could then be himself. And he was contentious. Dodgers were playing Philadelphia. Again, this was in Brooklyn, and Jackie got in a rundown between third and home. That means he's in the middle, and they have the ball, and they're trying to close the gap so somebody can tag him. Jack had phenomenal quickness, so he'd be going one way, then the other way, one way, the other way, on and on. And finally, one of the Phillies made a bad throw, and Jackie came running home. The Philly pitcher, Russ Meyer, was guarding the plate, but he didn't have the ball. So he tried to tackle Jackie. Jackie, an old football player, gave Meyer a hit. Meyer went sprawling, and as he came to his knees, he said, "I'm going to meet you under the stands." And Jackie whirled and said, right now, pointing. And the two of them disappeared under the stands. Before they arrived, the ballpark police had arrived. And so that's how Jackie Robinson never had a fist fight in baseball.
Jackie Robinson steps in, 1 hit, 3 times at bat, holds the bat away from his right ear, and he takes a fastball outside from Sturdivant, ball 1.
As a player, Jackie Robinson is remembered perhaps above all for his skill running round the bases. He used this to help the Dodgers win the World Series in 1955.
Sturdivant delivers a curve. There's a ground ball hit down inside the line, going on to left field. There's Jackie Robinson making the turn at first. The ball bounces away from Elston Howard over in the direction of left center field, and there's Robinson making the turn at second, and he is going on to third as the throw is to second. The throw across is in there.
But his legacy is rather greater than that merely of a sportsman.
He was always remembered during his post-baseball career as a man who had integrated America's national pastime of baseball, who had challenged racial stereotypes and a segregated society really prior to the civil rights movement of the 60s.
Jackie Robinson died in 1972, but his legacy lives on. April the 15th, the day he made his debut, has since been designated Jackie Robinson Day in the United States. David Robinson has worked as a coffee farmer in East Africa for the last 25 years. Roger Kahn is still writing at the age of 83. A stage version of his book about the Brooklyn Dodgers, The Boys of Summer, is due to appear on Broadway next year.
Jackie is a real gone guy.